I'm back. Alright, we're gonna finish this. I just realized there's something I can do. I was like, wait, I'm gonna beat this off screen. No, I'm gonna beat it right here. It's slightly stupid, but I'm gonna do it. Because I don't want to have this not beaten on screen. Alright, so here's what's gonna happen. Gonna let this load. Alright, so what we're gonna do is difficulty. It is strongly recommended for those who are new or recently returning to real-time party-based RPGs. So we're gonna go easy. Will take effect on any map you have not yet visited, except say yes. Slow down. Everybody kill him first. And this should allow me to beat this for tomorrow. Fuck, it's so unfair. Seriously, it's like you don't expect it to get like this high in difficulty. Oh, hang on. Yeah, you run over there. Further away. And then use your shield.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I was not expecting it to get this difficult. What else do we have? God damn. Let's see. No, don't mark him as a target. Fuck that. Just keep attacking him. Oh. Bring down the Holy Sunbeam. That's perfect.
Yes.
And everybody on him. You're gonna need some strong heals.
Oh, thank
Eloth. So this way I can beat it, but it's not too easy. What else do we have? Back to Eloth. Jesus Christ. More healing is needed. Come on.
beyond sea. Oh, thank you.
Nope, nope, nope. No death here. Except for his. It's the only death I want to see is his. Everybody on Theos. Yes, even the insects.
Artifact worth and reward.
Wait, what happened?
That's not very helpful.
Artifact worth and reward.
Oh god, even lowering the difficulty, I still can't do it.
Lavaru beyond seek.
Artifact worth and reward.
There you go. Everybody, back on Theos.
Odds in our favor. Well, attack!
Moeth Nick.
Oh,
Artifact worth and rough. I shall. Artifact worth and rough.
get up.
Yes.
Yes.
Lava.
Well, let's see.
Artifact. Rift Uligna.
Oh, why am I still getting drained of energy?
Lavaru beyond seek.
Lava.
Artifact worth.
Hey, alright, difficulty. Drop it down the story time.
Curse your
Holy shit, he hits hard.
Rifuligna. Navaru beyond sea.
kill.
Ugh. Hang on, load game. Alright, load. I'll just drop it down the story time right from the beginning. Fuck it. I was like, maybe if I drop it down in difficulty, that'll work. No, that's not gonna work. I'll just drop it down one more time.
Roak 10.
Can't believe I can't go back unless I go way back, and then I have to level up to level 12. Well, that's what the guy was telling me. He was like, you have to get to level 12. So hang on, difficulty, drop it down the story time. Save change it. Yes. Slow down, everybody. Go kill this thing.
Rid.
Eloth. Why?
Artifact worth and wo-
Everybody, get this guy.
Artifact worth and wrong.
Alright. Super cheating, but whatever. Oh my god, get off of me.
Navaru beyond sea.
Everybody on him.
Artifact.
There we go. Dead. Theos is dead. I've killed him. I've done it. At your feet rests the body of Theos, hollow, the dense wrinkle shaped by the silent shouldering of eternal burden now smothered across the cold, drained face. Oh, his cold, drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expanded in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
Studying for lifetimes. I can't imagine his failure. Knowing it was all for nothing.
At some point, you have to look at the things your God is telling you to do. And ask yourself if it's worth. He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Explore Theos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul, where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends. Now it is expanse and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Ingwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to known destinations, a final memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of the long tunnel, expanding slowly at first and quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar of the machine that encases it. Theos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at the faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, as mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers collapsing their children restless hands and watching you with a somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn towards the machine, your breathless, constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge. Preparing yourself to set out all alone on a journey without end, you close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands on a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting array of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room now shakes with the force of accelerated machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc out from the pillar in all directions, and you look over the shoulder and you see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under your stress of tremors. What? You look above at the Adra pillar. and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation, as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with the outstretched hand, and it seems as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melted into the pillar like a warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cog has passed, the chamber is still and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down at Theos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Theos, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you were able to do with it as you please. Returning to the cycle, you will remember this, Theos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever, and all you have done was in futility. Your memory shall be penance. Tear us all apart. I do not envy you, Theos. If all people realize the sway of memories can hold, it is time you be granted peace. Banish the soul to birth Enma. Theos ix Akramon. There can be no forgiveness for your deeds, only justice. You shall escape judgment no longer. Destroy all memories contained within. Your memory shall make you a slave to your own past. Perhaps it can't be undone, but it can't be forgotten. I shall trouble neither of us any longer. You caused great suffering, Theos. You do not deserve to exist. Sagani winces. I hope this brings you satisfaction after all you've endured to reach this moment. You reach out for Theos' soul, and you can feel his fertility and defeat. Its texture like coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of disintegration. You institute yourself between the threads, pushing the weave apart, unraveling the stitching until it befits it of structure, a formless heap bound together by nothing at all. In its midst, you dedicate your focus to a single idea. The idea is shatter. You concentrate. As you concentrate, you feel your force building within your soul, an outward pressure that strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. When you contain it no more, you transfer it into Theos' soul at once and release it there, as a detonation of will that expands into all directions, driving out the remains of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. You can feel his presence no more. And the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Theos in ancient memory. You realize that it was a word that activates the machine. Oh, did it. Alright, so now I got just to activate the machine and see what the fuck happens. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be simple matter to influence that direction. Though, as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Speak the command to activate the machine. Shrieking stone grating against the stones as the old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You've only moments before the souls will be set into Adra Vein. Then there will only be a chance to redirecting them. Send the souls back into the reincarnation cycle. Returns the souls. Disintegrate the souls, ending their existence. Ah, man, I should have saved. Disperse the souls to an unknown location. Distribute the essence to existing souls in the dry wood to strengthen them. Disintegrate the souls, ending their existence. Huh, okay, I have three options. I can return them to the cycle. Return the souls of the bodies so they were intended, which wouldn't do any good. Let's do that one. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking an immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. Won the game. Really? As a brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In the moment you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in new directions.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument.
Life with
spinning
deafening
alive,
resonance and gathering up
resonance
swirling
and
essence.
gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Terra Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Theos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren, or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Widewind's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Followers of Bereth have a saying that life is a debt all must pay in death, and their god is known to always collect what is owed. In breaking your word to Bereth, a debt was created. Souls were owed to the cycle, and the agents of the god of inevitability would not be refused. An epidemic of unexplained deaths struck Deerwood in the days that followed the legacy. Most often, the dead would be travelers on the road, known to be a favorite target of Bereth's Pallid Knight, who exacts impossible tolls from those who have journeyed for too long. The elderly, too, seemed to pass on in alarming numbers. But just as often, the deaths appeared to strike randomly, and for no reason at all. Those who sensed the involvement of the twinned god dubbed the calamity Bereth's Price, supposing it a payment for the end of Widewind's legacy. Gilded Vale remained under the harsh rule of Lord Radric, who reigned unopposed after the death of his cousin Kolsch. He continued to terrorize the people of Gilded Vale, looking for Aerthasians in their midst. But to Radric, the sudden and unexpected end to Widewind's legacy came as a sign of the success and righteousness of his efforts, and in time, his own people came to believe it too. He relaxed his use of authority, no longer seeing
I should have killed him then.
potential threats, and Gilded Vale began to regain some of its old luster. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in unraveling Widewind's legacy. They were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. Having seen both the ills and the promise of animancy, internally, the Knights quietly began a more cautious exploration of the new science. Depleted in numbers, but bolstered by their newly forged stock of soul-augmented weaponry and a small contingent of forged knights, the Knights of the Crucible would soon become an order few in Defiance Bay would dare to cross. But the opportunity to build upon their newfound power proved too great a temptation for the High Justice. What was at first a measured approach to animancy soon gave way to a rapid buildup of armaments. The High Justice would eventually seize control of the city for his order and place Defiance Bay under indefinite martial law. The destruction of the machine atop Ter Noaneth spelled the end of the reanimated corpses in Heritage Hill. Though at first few were willing to venture into the abandoned district, it was soon cleaned out and rebuilt. The district's horror still fresh in people's minds. It would be some time before it was fully repopulated, but eventually the lure of cheap prime land would all but erase the memory. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an Animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few Animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodans took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of Animancy, and that the purging of Animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them. In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving Animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without...
Well, how do I keep it from
The
getting the...
fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every Thane and Earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodanians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. Adair chose not to return home, still conflicted as to his role in the Saints' War and unsure of his place in the Deerwood. He took a ship to Adir and reunited with his parents. There, he resumed the quiet lifestyle he had grown accustomed to in his years as a farmhand in Gilded Vale. When the dust settled in Sun and Shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Exarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and what would be required to undo the harm Theos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Theos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Unwithen people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Unwithen legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad.
I like his face.
So that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Unwithen influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Theos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood.
So it's answering shit for storylines I didn't even complete.
Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War. Believing Mogren to have been a pawn in the machinations of the Queen that was, and feeling that Theos's expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built
Jesus Christ, this guy was nuts.
upon it, using his own shattered staff as kindling. You and Sagani never found Persak together. The Adra figurine had gone dark by the time they emerged from Sun and Shadow, and it was another month before Sagani finally accepted that Persak's trail had gone cold again. Her search took her beyond the Deerwood and as far as the Living Lands. She saw the great coastal cities of Rawatai and the ruins of Old Valia, absorbing the details of these strange and distant lands. 20 years passed before the Adra figurine finally glowed again. When it did, she followed its signal to a quiet hamlet on the outskirts of Adir. There, she met a young farmer and told her of her past as an elder of Masuk. Sagani returned to a village that had forgotten her face, but remembered her story. Masuk greeted her with cautious warmth, and Sagani found that their ways had become strange to her. She also learned that Kalu had perished of winter fever a few years before, and her middle child, Najuo, had died in a raid. But she found her daughter Yakona a hunter and mother of 3, and her son Malak a builder of mighty walls. In them, she came to find her place in the village, and the familiar contours of a world that had changed in her absence. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Ah, yes, finally beat it. 32. Unity. No, I want to get to the backers. And that's the White March development team. Skip ahead a bit more. Kickstarter gold level backer. Yeah, so these are all the levels. My name's not here, so I'm skipping all this. Oh, finally beat it. Kind of cheated at the end, but I finally beat it. God, I can't wait for Pillars 2 to come on Switch. That's the one reason I fucking love the Switch, is just its portability. I can take it anywhere. I can get the cartridge, slap it on there, boom, got the game with me wherever I go. So I think that's what I'm gonna do for Pillars of Eternity 2. Is I'm gonna play it, but I'm gonna play it on the story mode so we can get through the story really quickly, and then on my own personal time I'll play it off the story mode. I've already got Pillars of Eternity 2 fucking booted up on my system. Well, preloaded. It's already ready. It's gonna be great. Thanks everybody who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. Deuces.